Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, in this episode I show you some photos from an 85mm 1.4 under $300. Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, my name is Serge Ramelli. I'm a French photographer living in the incroyable city of Paris, France. But right now I am in California. It's very hot, we're in January, which is very unusual for me. Anyways, I make 2 tutorials per week. Click here if you want to get a raw file of this episode and all the past episodes, including Photoshop actions, Lightroom free presets. All you have to do is go to my website and sign up to my newsletter so you'll get news from me and all this free stuff. Or you can just click here to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In my last episode, I showed you how to use the Sony a7S to shoot over 10,000 ISO in the middle of the night. Amazing camera. Check it out. This week, I wanted to find a cheap lens that would go with the Sony a7S to make awesome portraits. And I've heard about that Rokinon lens, which is an 85mm 1.4 under $300, which is very unusual for this type of lens. Usually they go from $800 to $11,000 for this type of bokeh and 1.4 aperture. So I wanted to see if it was any good. It's a manual lens, but I find it very interesting, and it exists for Sony, Canon, Nikon, every lens mount. So I'm going to show you this, and I'm also going to show you how to use some of my preset to give a little look to this kids photo that I'm doing with it. So here's the tutorial. So a couple of things before we start. First, I have a limited time, only 25% off anything on my store. A lot of people missed the Christmas and New Year sales, so it's not as strong, but you can get 25% for limited only using this code. And if you're interested by this lens, so you can go to my gear if you want to have the exact reference. And on my gear, I have put 2 of this type of lens. One for the Canon. On the Canon starter kit here, you have the Rokinon 85mm 1.4. That's the Canon mount, and that's the Sony mount. And so if you click here and you buy it from this, you are basically helping me doing all kind of free tutorials. So the lens is kind of cool. It's built, it's pretty well built. It's not like, it doesn't look like magnesium or, this very high-end lens. You can tell it's under $300, but it feels solid, and it's easy to move around and to focus. The focus ring is pretty big, and it's not that hard to focus. It's okay built. It's not super well built, but I didn't expect something amazing for over $300. But now let me show you the photos that I took and how I retouched them with this lens. Alright, so to test out this lens, what I did is that I was with my friend there, Steven, and his kids over at Griffith Park this weekend. And I think kids is really a challenge to shoot because they move a lot. And this lens can only be manual focus. But I wanted to see if for $299 I could get a very nice bokeh. And the bokeh is basically that, you see? You see how the bokeh is a bit oval on this one, and it's kind of nice, it's little circles. The idea is that when you take a portrait, you want the person to be in focus and everything else to be out of focus. So the way I did this is I went on the lens. The lens goes to an amazing 1.4 for an 85mm. So this is really supposed to be a very good lens for portraits. And I actually was pretty happy with the results. So what I did, so you have basically two little handles. One is for, I don't know how you call this, this little thing here. One goes basically from f22 to 1f4. So I opened the lens to 1f4 because I wanted the maximum light to come and also to get the smaller depth of field. And then basically you play with this big one thing here to make your photo in focus. And what I did, I used this lens on the Sony a7S, and I put the aperture mode, and I was using the focus picking. Focus picking is going to put in red, anything or red or whatever color you choose. I will always put the focus pickers on high to see what's in focus. But even that with kids moving, I got a lot of blurry shots, like this one's blurry shots. That's there and his kid, and blurry shots. So what I usually do is I give like a 1 star to all the shots which are not blurry, basically. But I like the bokeh. I like how it looked, and it takes a good practice. But I think it's a great exercise to shoot kids because they move a lot, and you have to seize the moment. And like this one is like a little bit out of focus, and it's just really hard, you know. But then you get better at it by using you know, training to shoot this. And I mean, to be able to get this look for $299, you know, this kind of like very heavy bokeh, I think it's a pretty good deal if you're starting. And the great thing is that this lens is compatible with Canon, you know, small sensors, big sensors. I use it on a full frame sensor, but I know it can be used on an APS-C sensor. So that's pretty cool. And finally, so you can see like really like the kit is sharp, you know, that's the beautiful Kathy, and everything else is out of focus. Finally, the photo that I picked up as to be the photo I'm going to retouch, because there's tons of them, is this one. The reason I picked up this one is because she's got a pink dress and we've got the green grass and we start to have some lights there. And one thing that I like to do when I retouch photos is use my presets, because I've got tons of presets which you can find here. If you go to my website, if you go to tutorials, you go to Lightroom, and you can click here on presets. I've got over 250 presets. The one I'm going to be using today is the package called Lights. So what I do is I have my Lightroom, I've got my presets here on the left that are used, but the preset is only a starting point. And so, for example, this is the portrait collection, and then, yeah, portrait collection. So I just, you know, I just click on some of them to see the look that they give, not so bad. Okay, let me click on that. And there is like so many type of presets. I mean, I've got over 250, but I like to go through them and go for a look and see, you know, how is that going to work. And there's one preset in the light section, which is here in the leaks light section, which is this one, Fake Contre-jour. That's what I called. I love the look of this one, and it's just a starting point for me. So I just use that preset as a starting point. And now what I do, so if you see what it does, change the white balance. I like the colors. It's kind of like a dreamy feeling to it. I don't like the framing, so I'm going to reframe the photo by basically I want to cut here. The reason I'm doing that is I found that the feet are a bit too distracting, and yeah, something like this, making it more paddle. Putting her on the left of the photo is gonna make more intense. It's gonna make like a rule of third, and I like the dreamy look of it. Now, what I usually do is I go over in the brushes to see if the presets uses any brushes. It's not the case, but there if I go to circles, you will see that the radial circle, that it's using 4 radial circles. What I do is I over one of them, for example this one, and this one I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to erase it. This one, okay, it's doing that. I'm going to erase it, because I don't like what it did on the face. And on this one, that's the sun. I'm going to put the sun a bit more here to the right. And I guess this is like just a light ray, and I like that. I'm going to keep that. So you can see, you can just use them as like a starting point. And basically you have a very sort of decontrast look. Let's see if I want to bring back some contrast. Maybe just add a little bit of white and make it even less contrasty by moving the black. So it's a complete reverse of what I do with landscape. But I like the sunbeam that's coming down there. I think it's a bit too strong, so I'm just gonna take it back and this one, and just feather the light beam. It's gonna make it less obvious. You see, you can see here in the small display that it's less obvious than when it was here, where it's really obvious, because feathering is very important on radial filter. So, and basically I'm done with the retouching of the photo. So that's really what I like about presets, is that it's just a starting point, and then you can, you know, if you have a good knowledge of Lightroom, you can modify them. Maybe on this one, what I would do is add a little bit of, you know, of brightness in her eyes. So we'll take a brush and yeah, boost the exposure, and make sure flow and density is around like 60, and just, you know, make a small brush, and it's not that small, and paint over her eyes here. Just a little bit here, a little bit there. She's got amazing eyes. Okay, and then you have to look at the photo from far to see if you went overboard, which I think I believe I did. So yeah, I'm just gonna go 64, and I'm gonna add a bit of clarity in the eyes too. Check it out before, after. It's a very subtle change, but it's maybe a bit too much when I look at it now. So clarity a bit lower,
and exposure a bit lower. And voila, and I like the results. So it's really a lens that I recommend. If you do order the lens, you know, I like the bokeh. The bokeh is great. I've used very expensive lenses, like $7,000. I'm not going to give any name, but they give an even better bokeh. But for $299, I love the look. You know, I really love the look, and I love this photo. Let me show you the before, so you can see. You know, I like this sort of dreamy look on this. The before. I'm sorry. Because I tried so many things on it, so I just want to go to history and really show you the before on this one. That's the before photo, how it was imported, and that's the after. So using preset to retouch like lifestyle photography, I think is great, because honestly, when I started and I was looking for ideas, I had no idea that this was going to work, that this sort of like decontrast look was going to work. I might even add like even more like minus clarity, like a little -5 to make it even more dreamy, you know. But voila, that's I think is a nice photo. It's a nice lens, and I just wanted to share that little experience with you, and I encourage you to buy my presets and check them out. They might take you places you don't expect.
All right, guys, I hope you like this. If you do buy the lens, please use my gear page to do so it helps finance all the free stuff that I do. Thank you so much. Hope you like this, and I'll see you in another episode. Mesdames et messieurs, au revoir.